Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Namaste Experience. And those of you who are at Namaste Village, welcome to you. And those of you who are everywhere and anywhere, it's so good to have you here. I am in Portland, Oregon. I'm visiting with my family. My granddaughter Penny's over here petting Gracie. Those of you who been at Namaste for a while remember Gracie. She was our community dog for a long time until my granddaughter said, she's mine now, and took her back to Portland. But she's still very much a Mexican girl. She hasn't quite gotten used to the Portland weather, has she, Penny?
No, she just whenever it's sunny, she just
She likes it when it's sunny, but she doesn't like when it's rainy. So it is so good to be here. So good to be able to be with you this very early morning. Here it's 2 hours earlier than normal. So it's one thing for me to get up and be present for at 9. Now it's 7, but I woke up to a question that got my wheels turning. And that's the question we're going to handle today. It was a text that was sent to me from Jerry there at Namaste Village. And she said that she would really love to hear my reflections on the question of, who do you think you are? Who do I think I am? This is a very important question. It's actually a question that, if we remember, Jesus asked his own disciples, who do people say I am? And ultimately, it was Peter who said, you are the Christ. And Jesus said, it is not man that has revealed this to you, it is God. Now, how many of us can say the same thing? I am the Christ. And it is not the outer world that reveals this to me or demonstrates this to me, but it is something so deep within, the divine impulse that is within each and every single one of us. So I want to talk about that a little bit this morning. And I wrote a little something on my phone just a few minutes ago, and we'll use this as a beginning point. Then we'll bring Vicky in. So this is how I answered Jerry's question. There is a foundational question we ask and affirm every moment that determines the world we see. Here it is. Who do I say I am? The first to answer is always the mind, which looks around and claims what it sees. I am a man, or I am a woman. I have a certain job. I live in a certain place. All the things that I see, that I claim in my mind, that seem to determine who I am. So these are the thoughts that rise and fall in the mind like waves that seem to define our nature. The second to answer is the heart, which clings to all the reflections of the mind that it loves and is afraid to lose. This is the important thing, that it loves and is afraid to lose. It is this fear of loss that defines and limits you, breaking free from that limits you from breaking free from every limiting concept in your unlimited nature. Breaking free from every limiting concept into your unlimited nature. It is this unlimited nature of I am Brahman, or I am God. So yesterday, I'm going to go back to this one part from yesterday's section that came from, and in this case, the Avanta Gita. And this is where we begin looking at this idea of I am Brahman, or I am God. This is what we shared yesterday. And this is the real answer to the question that Jerry asked this morning. I have no birth, no death, and no duties. I've never done anything, either good or bad. I am purely Brahman, beyond all qualities. How could either bondage or liberation exist for me? This is the answer of a whole mind, a unified consciousness that knows itself to be one with all, which is what it means when it says, I am purely Brahman. I am one with all reality. I can't pick it apart and say, I am this, I'm that, and then tomorrow I'll be something else. There is a breakthrough point in our transformation, in the transformation of our mind, where we don't pick apart and claim small bits, but we claim the all. Now, there was another Sanskrit saying that I came across yesterday that I've decided there are two things that I'm going to have painted on as a mural in Namaste Village. People have been helping me to look out for the right spots. The first we've been talking about already, which is God alone, love alone. No, I can't remember now. God, love, and anyway, it's too early. I've only had one cup of coffee, so I'm not remembering things very well. But the second, oh, and I remember what it is. Only God, only love, only now. I can see some of you mouthing it to me. I have you on mute, so I can't hear you. But that's it. Only God, only love, only now. That's one thing we're going to have put up onto the on one of the murals. The other is this. It's a Sanskrit line. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Once again, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, which means God alone is real. God alone is real. This is all we need. This is the answer to every question, especially as we seek to answer the one that Jerry asked this morning. Who do I say I am? God alone is real. Therefore, I am that. And this is the reality that we relax into and that we are called to share and enjoy. This is why we come together in the morning to spark that reality. I often think of it like we've been walking through a dark forest for a very long time, and we've wandered off the path. And because it's so dark, we can't see even our hand in front of us. We don't know how to get back on the path. And suddenly there's a flash of lightning. And that flash of lightning, though instantaneous, is so bright that it shows me exactly where I am. And in that instant, I can see the path. I know exactly how to get back to that path. I know how to walk, and now I can get on the path that leads me to the home that I never really left. And maybe a few steps later, it's dark again, and I'm not sure where I am until another flash of lightning comes. These are all flashes of lightning. Everything we share here at Namaste are flashes of lightning that show us where and who we are, ultimately into the experience that God alone is real. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So we're going to have that put up as in a mural somewhere there at Namaste. And so we can always see it and just have it as a constant reminder. We do need to have these reminders around us. Maybe some of you put things on your refrigerator, or you have a picture that has a saying that reminds you of who you really are. All we know for sure is that we are not all of these changing forms and identities that we have claimed until now. None of these things describe who we really are. They describe who we are not. And maybe this is the beginning. We can't jump into the experience of I am that until we recognize who I am not. If you imagine that you're an actor, but you're a confused actor, and what you have done is you have put on not just one costume, but another and another and another, and you have, imagine wearing dozens of costumes all at the same time. And so your clothes are all the way out here because it's so thick with all the costumes that you're wearing. The beginning step to be released and to come back to the essential you, who you really are, is to look at each one of those costumes that you've put on yourself and say, I'm not that. Let's put that one aside. And then the next one, I am not that. Let's put that one aside. And we strip ourselves one by one of all of these costumes or all of these identities that we believe ourselves to be, and we lay them aside until we come down or we come back to the essential nature of who I am. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. God alone is real. Every other answer falls away but this one answer. And all reality is claimed as one radiant extension of the mind that knows itself to be divine. So when Peter asked, or rather when Jesus asked that question, who do people say that I am? And Peter answered him, you are the Christ. And now it's up to us when we ask that question of ourselves, who do I say I am? Am I just a man? Am I just a pop to an 8-year-old or whatever it may be? I mean, it changes every moment, doesn't it? It's so confusing, all of these costumes that we have decided to wear, until we strip off each one and return to that essential quality of Brahma, of the divine. And I say, I am that alone. Now we are free. Now we remember reality itself. Hi, Penny's here. So that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Vicky. We got a little bit philosophical here this morning. Anything you would like to add, Penny?
No, I just came here.
You just wanted to come and stand here? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Oh, thank you, James. Thank you, Penny, for just standing there, because you're one of those sparks of light that we all recognize. Since you were born, since you were a little girl, we see that in you. We see that spark, that joy. Thanks so much for coming on the screen, honey. Thank you. And the truth is, we do see the sparks all over the place. But what happens is we see them and we slip back into one of the costumes, whatever it is, what's on our mind. That's why things like the Course in Miracles is about mind training, because it's not enough to see the sparks. It's enough to get us started. It's enough to recenter us when we remember. But the real integration of this is the willingness to practice all these steps of mindfulness all day, every day, especially when a challenge comes up. So only love, only God, only now, no matter what. Maybe you ought to put that on the wall, James. No matter what, because it's the consistency. And, you know, in the Course in Miracles, Jesus is wonderful in not only offering a workbook, but over and over, it's your willingness to practice. Practice. What is it we're practicing? We're practicing shifting from seeing ourselves and each other as bodies to recognizing that spark everywhere and everything in ourselves and everything else. And yesterday, I love a Silent Wednesday. Yesterday was such a great way to remember for me, because spending all that time in silence, it allows that knowing that's in us, that when Jesus asked Peter, who do you say that I am? That's the question that's happening all the time to all of us. Who is it that you are? I am the light of God. I am God's child. I am innocence. I am love. But that cannot happen in a mind that's running around and thinking and reacting. It happens in a mind that's resting and open. So I don't know, practicing that silence yesterday was a great day, because for me, not only does it bring to my awareness the ease and the sweetness and the joy of that presence, it allows space for a new direction to come in, whatever it might be, a new thought to come in, a new thing to do, and to act only from that inspiration. That's inspiration from the light of our own souls. So that's one of the practices, not to run around and fill up our day with, I've got to do this and this and that, but to fill up our day waiting and listening for the inspiration. Where and what is it calling me to? Everything we're being called to. We don't have days that we're not. Every day we're being called to love in one way or another. And we're always being called to love very practically, whether it's in relationship or the work we do or anything. But if we listen for it, if we make, that's the practicing of the presence. You know, Brother Lawrence, some of you read that long ago. Practicing the presence. Joel Goldsmith wrote a wonderful book about that. See, Penny's practicing the presence. She knows that playfulness and joy is the practice. There's nothing that gets in the way of it. With a kid, all we have to do is watch kids for a little while. Practicing the presence and the willingness to practice it all day. And when we slip and we see we blew, we're nervous, we got upset, we're in pain, we're sick, that's immediately the place. Stop, drop, and practice. Pray right now. Oh, I forgot. I have identified with the body costume. I've identified with it. That's nothing. It's silly. It's not what I am. Practice these steps of mindfulness. There's a shift that finally starts happening that seems to, it takes all this willingness and all this practice. And then all of a sudden, we're grounded in it. We're grounded in it, and we're not fooled by the appearances anymore. We look at them and we don't shy away from them. We look at everything, but we don't identify with them. That's the difference. And we allow everything. We allow upset, pain, situations, let them come in clear, and stay focused on the light. As a little girl, and I bet many of us as children knew this reality of spirit better than we have known it as adults until perhaps recently. But as a kid, I remember, my sisters and I would be in the bathroom talking about God, the secret. And the whole secret was everybody's got the God in them. That's how we'd say it. And that's how I still say it. They've all got the God in them. You just have to see it. Don't pay attention to anything else. Everyone has the God in them. Some people heard voices, saw angels, had visions, whatever it was. I would bet you in this room, there are many of us as children that were tapped into spirit in very natural, organic ways that we hadn't covered over so strongly yet. And now we're revealing all of that again. Everything has the God in it, not just everyone, everything. But that, when we've got these costumes, is a practice. It's like, this is a costume, you got to zip it off, to zip it down and take it off. We have to unzip all our costumes and let them just fall down to the ground until we, no matter what, are resting in the love and the safety and the trust of spirit. Trust is a practice. It doesn't just happen overnight, but the willingness to practice it is what we can do wherever we are, in whatever situation we're in, letting go of every outcome of what it looks like. A dead body, an alive body, a healthy body, a sick body. We are not bodies, no matter what. Situations in the world that seem people are fighting or people are coming in peace. We are not people. We are the light, recognizing through all of these stories that we are awakening to the God in us, to the divinity in us. And the way we awaken most quickly is to see it in one another. But it's a practice. It's a practice that becomes our way of life and our reality if we are consistent. That's what practice is. A musician will tell you. You can know the scales, you can play anything by ear, but you practice. The willingness to practice makes it so that it's natural, it's organic. It's just our way of being. We are letting go of a false way of being that we have had faith in. We need to have faith in the truth. But the way to have faith in it is to practice it, whether we put our attention only on joy, only on love, but with everything, with the movies we watch, with the books we read, with the music we listen to, with the conversations we have with one another. Let them be conversations of love. Let them be conversations of acceptance. Let them be conversations of trust in the light that everyone is being led. We don't need to teach one another. We need to accept the teaching that's being given to us and practice it. The willingness to practice the steps, whether you do something like A Course in Miracles or you do any other tradition, the tradition doesn't matter. The willingness to practice, to shift our attention from externals to internals is what matters. And all of us have common practices and not so common practices. I'd never heard of the Advaita Gita. Well, when Marianne started to translate it, and it became a joy, a fountain of wisdom for me until James talked about it yesterday. All of these lights, these are places of light that are available if we look for them. If we look for the negative and the material driven, we will find it, because we will find what we look for. If we look for the light, remember, perception follows our judgment. If we judge that we are the light, if we make one true judgment, we are the light of the world, then that's what we'll start seeing. We'll see it everywhere, and we'll bring it everywhere with us, because we bring our energy and our radiance and our mindset to wherever we are. So practice, practice, practice. It's just what we're all into now. It's like if you want to be a ballet dancer, you got to practice, practice, practice. So, okay, I love you all. Thanks for practicing with me every day. Every day we practice. I love you.
Amen. Thank you, Vicki. It's like that old joke. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. How do we get back into the experience of the heaven that we never left except in our imagination? Practice, practice, practice. We practice by taking off all the costumes that we think define us in one way or another. And Vicki, there's one final thing that you said there right at the end. We will find what we look for. So look for love, look for reality. Don't look to affirm the costumes that never had any reality at all except in our imagination. Look for the reality that is forever real, the truth that is forever true. Now, someone there at Namaste Village sent me a text saying that they wanted to say something really quick, but they didn't tell me who it was. They just said Namaste Village. So who was that? If you're out there, identify yourself. Or maybe not. Okay. So what a beautiful way to start my journey here in Portland with all of you, with the family. But even in a situation like this, all we're doing is coming back to that simple expression, only God, only love, only now. And then when we do this mural at the very bottom, very small, I'm going to have the words, no matter what, painted on. You going to school, Penny? Penny's going to school. Say goodbye to Penny. Have a good time.
This is yours.
Oh, thank you, honey. Have a beautiful day, everybody. And to this we say, Amen.
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 Punto.
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 Love you all.
Love you all. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Leslie.
Thank you.